Do you have an estimate?
An estimate of how many we're going to get?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say somewhere around like maybe 38, 40.
I'm gonna go 48.
Whoa.
Going high.
What's going to happen in the
I think
next
there's a
3
lot
hours?
that we're not thinking about that we're gonna see. Alright, we're getting ready for our first of the year trip. Got some of our stuff laid out. And our big plan for where we're gonna go.
As the calendar changes over at the start of the new year, the list totals are wiped clean and every bird species becomes new for the year. Continuing with our January 1st tradition, we set out early in the morning to try to see as many bird species as possible. As the sun started to rise, we eagerly anticipated which species would be our first of 2018.
Well, it's still cold, but the car is warm, and we're still looking for... haven't seen any birds yet, so the first could still be something cool. It's not slated in as a house sparrow or pigeon or something
We're in
yet.
the middle of a city, so it's only a matter of time before a pigeon flies over.
Still holding out hope.
It wasn't too long before we had our first sighting.
Oh, on the board. There it is. Oh, got it.
Crow's a good American bird, you know? Resourceful, smart, underappreciated.
After our American crow sighting, we stopped at our first location for the day, the UW-Madison Arboretum, where a Townsend solitaire had been recently reported. The Arboretum contains over 1,200 acres of land in Madison, as well as additional plots throughout the state. We met up with some friends and began our journey through Long Necker Gardens.
As we entered the Arboretum, we noticed a few different species and fruit trees, including American robins, European starlings, and Cedar Waxwings.
At the Pinetum, it didn't take long for us to find a thrush-like bird sitting on top of one of the conifers. It was just what we were looking for, the Townsend solitaire.
While watching the solitaire, we heard other species calling, such as wild turkeys, white-breasted nuthatches, and red-breasted nuthatches.
We continued on into Wingrove Woods, where a spring prevents a section of water from freezing. Here we found a couple of mallards and one very energetic American coot. Also present at the Arboretum was one northern cardinal, a couple of house finches, and a single red-tailed hawk. With cold extremities and frozen camera equipment, we headed back to the car. Alright, well, we got the Townsend solitaire, which is super exciting, but it's super cold out. We're gonna stop at somebody's house. They're nice enough to let us come by and take a look at some Carolina wrens that they have.
After a short drive, we arrived at the house where the Carolina wren had been seen. After just 5 minutes, the bird made an appearance along with several other first-of-year feeder birds.
Rob, it's all coming together right now. Alright, we just saw some Carolina wrens, which is an awesome bird to see, especially here in Wisconsin. Now we're going to look for some Eurasian collared doves. Ryan, how do you feel about the day so far?
It's going alright. It's still freezing out, so being outside isn't that great. But good thing we're going to be in the car for a while.
I don't think you can argue with Solitaire and Carolina.
Solitaire and Carolina wren are good birds.
Two great birds already. Upon arriving in Arlington, we quickly found a flock of Eurasian collared doves that seemed just as cold as we were. We also noticed a couple rock pigeons feeding near the side of the road. We were driving too fast to get a picture of those, but we did stop to find one of Wisconsin's common winter sparrows. American tree sparrow. Just got to our next location. It's actually another personal residence, and they've had a Harris's sparrow here, and so we're gonna see if we can find it.
The Harris's sparrow had been visiting the feeder on and off for a few weeks. The homeowner said it was seen 20 minutes before we got there, so we felt optimistic about our chances. While we waited for the sparrow to appear, we counted up some other birds to add to our list. The one that's right down here, close to us, was back-turned.
After observing a variety of different species, the Harris's sparrow did decide to make an appearance and gave us great looks.
As we left the feeders and drove to our next destination, we picked up a horned lark along with an American kestrel that proved too fast for photographs to be taken.
How do you feel about the day so far?
Well, it started out really cold and freezing, and we saw a lot of good birds, but we haven't seen a high volume of birds. So I don't know if we're going to beat our total from last year, but we're going to try.
Do you have an estimate?
An estimate of how many we're going to get?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say somewhere around like maybe 38, 40.
I'm gonna go 48.
Whoa.
Going high.
What's going to happen in
I
the
think
next
there's
3
a lot
hours?
that we're not thinking about that we're gonna see.
Getting like a snowy owl would be cool.
Would be. We eventually arrived at Port Washington and were greeted by a flurry of bird activity. Wow, look at all these gulls. Just waiting for identification. Oh my gosh! Look at all that stuff.
That could be promising.
We just got to the Port Washington lakefront, and it is crazy how much stuff is out here right now. I'm amazed. The video doesn't do it justice. It's really beautiful.
I don't think I've seen this much stuff here in a long time. With impressive numbers of birds swimming and flying around Port Washington's harbor, we were able to pick out several species that we hadn't seen yet.
Goldeneye, red-breasted merganser, Canada goose. Some redheads. American black duck. It's a nice one. Glaucous gull.
Nice.
It's a great blackback gull out there.
Oh, okay.
The common mergs.
Oh yeah. After having success at the lake in Port Washington, we headed to the open fields of 6 Mile Road to find some raptors.
We started off by finding an immature bald eagle, and then a lot of rough-legged hawks. Now we're going south to Milwaukee to see if we can find the snowy and maybe some other ducks down there. We arrived at the Milwaukee Lake Express ferry and did see the snowy owl. However, it was very far away out on the ice. There it is, that's the snowy.
It's a blob, but it's also an owl.
It's an owl blob. Okay, so since the snowy is so far away, we're gonna try to go to a different park to see if we can get a better view of it. We did see it, it's way out there, but hopefully we can get a better look before the sun goes down. There's the snowy. Looks cold. What a great way to end the day. Well, we ended the day with a snowy owl, which was a great way to finish up trying to find as many species as possible on the first of the year. Rye, what do you think? How'd we do?
Pretty solid. We got a lot of rare birds, so that was good. Good way to start the year.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding. Well, it's still cold.
Well, it started out really cold and freezing. That was brutal. Man, your beard is icy.
Yeah, it's been like bitter cold out. But it's super cold out.
It's still freezing out, so being outside isn't that great.
It's been very cold all day. It's probably one of the coldest days I've ever been outside, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's been rough. I hate it here, but I also love it.